As of right now, I can't stand this fucking promotion. I want to enjoy this shit, but I just can't get into it for the life of me because I'm pretty sure I've aged out of their 14-year-old edginess and I'm tired of watching 30-year-old men act like fucking children in the wrestling business. First of all, I do want to say that by a fucking landslide and a mile, the absolute best parts of the show were both the Christian Cage match with him and the Blade and the Christian Cage backstage interview after the match later on in the show. This guy fucking outclasses everyone in the promotion. And honestly, this run that he's got going for himself might be his best one yet when it's all said and done. I mean, seriously, Christian Cage is going out with a motherfucking bang so far. From his first match back against Kaz to his match with Matt Hardy being one of my all-time favorite matches in the year 2021, Christian's admittedly having a much better run for himself in AEW than he probably would have had in WWE, despite the AEW diehards and the AEW crowds just in general being lukewarm to him at best, which annoys the ever-loving shit out of me to see how underappreciated he's been since making his return to wrestling. And really, just in general, I think that this just might be one of the biggest reasons why I don't enjoy AEW for as much as I'd like to, because clearly they're a promotion that's capable of having outstanding matches on the card. It's just that they're so preoccupied trying to stick it to WWE and taking pot shots at Daddy that their fucking content suffers. Because unfortunately, saying fuck Vince McMahon draws money in the year 2021 more than it probably ever has before, maybe barring the Monday Night Wars. Cody's promo at the end of the show was no doubt the smoking gun. I would have enjoyed it more if he didn't say shit the entire time, even with him doing the tired ass retirement fake out bullshit. Instead of shutting the fuck up though, he cut a very self-serving promo about how people laughed at him when he said that he wanted to start a revolution in wrestling. After that, he just had to make a remark about Vince McMahon saying that he doesn't consider AEW competition on a fucking investor call because there's no way in hell that AEW's not going to shut the fuck up and ignore the guy when he mentions them. It's just really so tiring to sit here and watch this promotion, the first real alternative to WWE in about a decade, just to sit there and do what TNA did by constantly taking shots at WWE instead of just putting on good wrestling content. All because just being a competent wrestling company doesn't fucking sell if you really want to get over 1 million viewers every week on cable, I guess. It doesn't even feel like I'm watching AEW. I feel like whenever I tune into this shit, it's fuck the Fed, the promotion. And because of that, they get away with putting on lackluster bullshit like MJF and Chris Jericho doing your mom jokes at the peak of their feud, or lackluster wrestling matches like that fucking Stadium Stampede match from Double or Nothing this year, where these fuck the Fed cornballs band together and talk about how great that match was because doing middle fingers and whatnot is so edgy, bro. There's just so much fucking Kool-Aid drinking within and around this promotion that it makes it so hard to watch even one of their 4 pay-per-views every year, let alone episodes of Dynamite like this one. And hey, look, if you happen to be one of those wrestling fans that legitimately enjoys AEW, then more power to you. I feel the same way about wrestling fans that are diehard Cena marks. The more the merrier for you, I guess. Outside of the people that enjoy AEW every week, though, you have a vast majority of wrestling fans deep into their anti-WWE phase as a wrestling fan. And it makes me sick to watch because the content is outright appealing to those fuckers more than anything else. Miro's first promo when he walked into this promotion was a promo about how Vince McMahon can shove his brass ring up his ass. AEW literally had a brass ring ladder match where Scorpio Sky won the fucking thing and then went on to do absolutely nothing, which is what this fucking company lambasts WWE for every chance they get, especially when they sign a brand new ex-WWE wrestler and have them show up on their fucking show to complain about being underutilized like Everrise did on this fucking show, before they inevitably wrestle on Dark for the next few months. Like, yeah, what a leap for those guys. And it's all that bullshit that casts a nasty shadow over their matches, like with Miro versus Lee Johnson on this show. Because I can almost guarantee that if it were Rusev versus Lee Johnson in NXT, the match would have had some real fucking purpose behind it without the Fed bad narrative plastered all over it. Continuity means an awful lot, and AEW has a long and storied history of being fuck the Fed, the promotion, instead of being AEW. And at this point, it's like, what's the fucking difference? Anyways, the rest of the card sucked. The storyline sucked. Like the MJF versus Jericho thing, I just can't get into. It's like WWE trying to get me into Roman Reigns versus The Authority from 2016 in a way. Because it's taking talented motherfuckers like Roman Reigns and making me hate him because the people that are in control of his storylines transparently have a fucking agenda to feed their wallets at the expense of my patience. It's the fucking promotion that's getting in the way is what I'm getting at. How the fuck am I supposed to enjoy Miro's run as TNT champion when they've already filled their narrative up as a company with such bullshit? It's like trying to take John Cena's bitch ass seriously whenever he inevitably spins shit in his promos against other wrestlers that's leagues ahead of him in talent, no matter how inaccurate or phony his promos turn out to be in the end. Like, am I really supposed to sit here and act like MJF isn't fucking corny? Am I really supposed to sit there and think that Britt Baker's DMD catchphrase isn't fucking corny? Am I really supposed to sit through yet another Dark Order Elite Brawl and tell you that it's not redundant and uninteresting and uncreative, not unlike the dog shit that we get from WWE still? Shit is so exhausting. No fucking wonder millions of wrestling fans just up and gave up and walked away from pro wrestling altogether. If all you got to choose from was a turd sandwich or a giant douche like from that one episode of South Park, but only all you had to do to be rid of that nonsense was to turn the fucking channel to literally anything else, then it should come as no surprise that motherfuckers in wrestling are out here doing backflips for 2.5 million viewers, when like 5 years ago they'd be going nuts for 3.5. It was either this episode of Dynamite or the latest episode of ROH's Women of Honor Wednesday as the show that I'd be covering today. And honestly, I only chose to watch this over that one because of Christian Cage. And at least he didn't let me down, even if the crowd didn't seem to fucking appreciate him. This episode of Dynamite was fucking trash. I don't know what else to say. I'm sick to death of AEW constantly letting me down. I'm probably a lot better off not watching at all, like I've said before. When will I learn, I guess?